Right, we start here. National Assembly Speaker Aviwe Mtila has announced that there will be no voting in secret on the Phala Phala report. Members of Parliament will make their way to Cape Town City Hall today to deliberate on the saga around President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm. An independent panel found that he may have a case to answer to, and MPs will decide today whether that finding should be acted on. Senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is in the mother city and he'll be joining us in a moment. Let me just remind you what brought us here today. We were supposed to see members of Parliament debate the report last week Tuesday, but that was postponed until today. This, of course, after that independent panel headed by former Justice Sandile Ngcobo was asked to look into whether the president had anything to answer to. Let's go to our senior reporter now, Aviwe Mtila, who is in Cape Town for us. Aviwe, I understand that you have a guest. What are they telling you?
We have a mandate from the party.
I won't waste any time. It's Minister Nchaveni, Communications Minister for the ANC here, is going to tell us the readiness of the ANC here.
We are going to caucus now as a party for the party message to be communicated to us. But we know that we have a mandate. We are going to vote against the panel report as the ANC because that's what the party has decided, but also because that panel report is not credible enough and there are enough holes on that report. So we are going to use our numbers as the ANC because we cannot be dictated to by a panel that has not been consistent, that has not been fair, that has not been objective. What we expected from members of the judiciary and officers who are members of the judiciary is them to be objective in doing their work and not to then use hearsay. And that's what our commitment is. And we are here as the ANC and we are not going to be bullied by anyone.
Some opposition parties have been saying you are actually abusing your majority instead of holding the president accountable. What's your response?
It's not an abuse of our majority. You cannot hold the president to account on an unfair reports. At a minimum, the report should have been fair, it should have been objective, and we are willing to hold the president to account. And not only that, our president has always been available to be accountable to this country for everything and anything that he does. We cannot be apologizing. The opposition parties are entitled to their views. Their views inform that they do not want the ANC to remain in power, and they'll do everything to destabilize the ANC, and we cannot be destabilized by the opposition parties.
But Minister, there are people within your very party who also think that things should move forward and that there should be a committee process where witnesses could be subpoenaed and this could be ventilated more thoroughly. Is this not being obstructive to the democratic process in Parliament?
I don't understand when you say it's obstructive. Remember, the process says there is a report that gets done, and the report has to be considered by Parliament, and the Parliament must decide to adopt the report or to reject the report. And we are saying first, as a basis of that report is unfair, it's unobjective, it's biased, and that the least we expected from the people who constituted the panel is that they should have been objective. But when that report is not objective, it's not obstruction when we say we cannot be bullied by a report that is not fair. You cannot, because things are wrong, you cannot be agreeing because everybody says, no, we must agree. We cannot just agree for the sake of agreeing.
So are you saying if a second report was done that was more even-handed in the view of the ANC caucus and was level and did not include hearsay, the ANC would back a second phase of the process?
Depending on what that report will find. See, depending on what that report will find, and we are glad that the president is taking the report on review so that that report can then be dealt with its credibility, because it's not credible. You have had members of society, you have had esteemed lawyers and members of the judiciary saying that report is flawed. So it's that I don't know why we're even having this discussion. That report is flawed. It must be rejected for all its intents and purposes, and we move on as a country. And there's other reports that are coming through. They allow the police to investigate. The Infosocks are investigating. There is a process to hold those accountable if there's anything that's untoward. And we deal with this as if the president has stolen money from somebody. It's his money, it's his private property, it's not government's money. So why do we want to jump up and down as if it's taxpayers' money? It's not taxpayers' money.
But other members of your party feel otherwise, feel that the president has to account and this process should be done openly. What happens to those members that say they won't toe the party line and will vote for the report to be adopted? What's going to happen?
The ANC has its own processes to deal with its members. When the party line has come out, the party line has come out. I can speak on behalf of the ANC leadership on what they do with members who do not want to follow the party line. There's disciplinary mechanisms within the ANC that has to be followed. I need to go.
Minister, 30 seconds. When are we having the SAP's report?
I'm waiting for Parliament to give me the list and we'll submit to the President.
Well, thank you very much, Minister.
Okay, Communications Minister here, of course, as she's rushing inside there, we do understand that is that caucus of the party itself. We've seen a number of the MPs head inside here. You do know ANC currently holds 230 members inside Parliament. There are 400 in totality, and Parliament, in order to adopt the Section 89 inquiry, they need at least 200 plus one. We do know then, of course, there are those members of disgruntled ANC members that actually want this report to be adopted, but you heard the firm stances there from the Minister of Communication and what they want to go ahead. They're saying that they reject this report, it is flawed. Similar suggestions, of course, that we heard from the President as this report is currently being taken on review. I just want to see just around Parliament, we've seen many of the members come inside here. In fact, we just had a word with the Freedom Front's Peter Groenewald Masego, who suggests that we do know the ATM currently is looking for third time lucky when it comes to convincing the Speaker of Parliament to do the voting here openly. We do know, of course, they wanted to be in a secret ballot, but the Speaker has rejected that on 2 different occasions. Now they've written the 3rd letter saying that this voting should be in secret ballot. A lot of the members are being threatened, not only the ANC MPs, but other party members are being threatened if they do vote and they support this vote. So they have now threatened legal actions if they don't hear from the Speaker from 12 o'clock. So there is that court process, of course, that is possibly prevailing, but we do understand that proceedings here are expected to be underway at 2 p.m. in the City Hall in Cape Town, where Parliament will be sitting.